Hello everyone! Today you are going to maybe for the first time get into some Algebra 2 things. Maybe these are things that you haven't seen before from Algebra 1, or maybe they do look familiar depending on your Algebra 1 situation. We're going to be talking about absolute value equations and how to solve them. So this idea of absolute value comes in. Don't write this part down with your notes, but I want you to think about what absolute value means. If we were to simplify the absolute value of -6, we would think, well, that's 6. And the absolute value of 7 just stays 7. Why do we always get that positive value? Why is it that students would say to me, well, you just make it positive, or it just has to stay positive? What is it about absolute value that makes that happen? Write this part in your notes. Absolute value means something, okay? Absolute value represents the distance from 0. That's why it's always positive, because it represents a distance. So the absolute value of 3 is really 3 because 3 is 3 units away from 0. In the same way, -3 inside absolute values, the absolute value of -3 is also 3 because -3 is also 3 units away from 0. So this idea that absolute value represents a distance from 0 is really, really important. This will lay the foundation for where we're going to go in the next few days as we deal with absolute value equations as well as inequalities. So what do you do, or what do we need in order to solve an equation that contains an absolute value? So let's think about this. The absolute value of something equals 5. So the absolute value of x equals 5. You don't need to write this part down in your notes, just think along with me. What we're asking is, what number is a distance of 5 away from 0? So what x value has a distance from 0 of 5 units? If we think about it visually, we're saying, well, it could be here at 5, or it could be here at -5. The x could either be 5 or -5 because both of them have a distance of 5 away from 0. So there's two solutions. The two solutions are 5 and -5. Now this example is a little different. Again, don't write this one in your notes. This one, instead of having just an x inside, has an x minus 3 inside those absolute values. But think with me, we're still asking ourselves the same question. We're thinking absolute value is a distance from 0. So this means the distance from 0 is supposed to equal 4. So it means that this expression, that x minus 3 thing, could be both at 4 or -4. So both of those expressions, the x minus 3 and the x minus 3, could be in two locations. It could be either at -4 or at +4, since both of those have a distance of 0 or a distance of 4 away from 0. So we're going to get two solutions again. Now, if I solve these two equations that I have written on the bottom here, and I add 3 and add 3, I get x equals -1, as well as x equals 7. I'm getting two solutions again. That's because there are two locations that satisfy the distance idea. That expression had to be a distance of 4 away from 0. The absolute value is describing the distance of 4 away from 0. Okay? Keep that in mind. We're about to solve a few examples. Let's write this one in your notes. X minus 5 in absolute value, so the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 7. So if we think about what this means, that means that I have two separate situations. That the x minus 5 could be located at +7, because that's a distance of 7 away from 0, or the x minus 5 could be located at -7, okay, because that too has a distance of 7 away from 0. And then I solve those each separately. Add 5, x equals 12. 12 would satisfy the equation. Add 5, x equals -2, or -2 would satisfy that equation. So I have two solutions. Both of them would satisfy that equation when we check them out. If you want to do a quick check, you just plug them back in. Absolute value, 12 minus 5. Does that truly, in fact, equal 7? the absolute value of 7, is that equal to 7? Yes. So that solution checks. Same thing over here. If I plug in -2, I get absolute value -7. Is the absolute value of -7 equal to 7? Yes, it is, because the absolute value of -7 would in fact be a positive 7. So they both check out, two solutions. Let's try another one. Again, same idea. The 5x minus 10 inside absolute values, that expression needs to be 45 units away from 0. So 5x minus 10 could be at positive 45. The 5x minus 10 could be at negative 45. And we solve those two situations. Adding 10, 5x equals 55, x is 11. Adding 10, negative 35, x equals -7. Again, two solutions in this situation. Okay, let's do a third example. This one's a little bit different. Notice in the instructions up there it says check for extraneous solutions. This is new to us. Extraneous solutions are solutions that happen in the process of solving, but may not work in the original problem. So let's set this one up in a similar way as we set the other ones up. We'd write 2x plus 12 equals 4x, and 2x plus 12 equals -4x. Just like the other problems, we set them up in a similar way. Now, when we go about solving, we're going to need to put those x's together on one side. Whoops. Or got a little crazy there. Dividing by 2, x is 6. And if I solve this other one, x is -2. Now, when the directions say to check for extraneous solutions, that's giving you a hint that these are the times when something might arise where you get an extra solution that does not work. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong, it just means it doesn't check out given the whole situation that we're in or given the original problem. So make sure that you check your solutions. I'm going to plug this 6 back in. 2 times 6 plus 12 in absolute values, and 4 times the 6. I'm going to work out each side and make sure that they are in fact equal. 4 times 6 is 24. This is 12 plus 12. Absolute value of 24. Yes, the absolute value of 24 is 24. So both sides are in fact equal. The 6 checks. He's a good solution. I'm going to plug in -2 as well into the original problem. So 2 times -2 is -4, plus 12 more makes 8. I have the absolute value of 8 on this side. The absolute value of 8 is in fact 8. On the other side, 4 times -2 is -8. Well, this doesn't make sense. 8 and -8 are not the same number. Okay, there's no more absolute value there around that 8. So this does not check. So he is not a solution. So we don't want to circle, or maybe you want to cross off that extra solution because he did not work. Okay, these are things to keep in mind when we're solving these absolute value equations. I will see you tomorrow for some more work on this.